Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about the 3-year performance of the PTI government. It's going to be 3 years soon. What have they achieved? What did they set out to do? What kind of goals that were set have now been fulfilled? What are the next 2 years aimed at, considering, of course, that the elections will be are planned in the 5 years' time? We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about economic goals. We'll be talking about social goals also. We'll also be talking about the overall perspective of the Prime Minister, the vision of the Prime Minister as he saw his party and the way he saw Pakistan, what he saw Pakistan becoming. Are we going towards that? Are we working towards that? Are the policies that the government has worked towards, is working towards now garnered to achieve all that they set out to do? Are we on the right path? All of that today on Perspective. I have with me Ahmed Jawad, who's Secretary Information PTI. Thank you for joining us today. Naseem Siddiqui, who's a senior analyst and journalist. Thank you for joining us. We'll also be joined by Rana Ehsan, who is with the PMLN. Thank you for being with us. Jawad Sahab, I'll let you start and tell us what you feel. I mean, after 3 years, of course, there have been numerous challenges for the government also. In the sense that, of course, at this time, if we look at the opposition, it seems largely to be a fragmented one, but that wasn't always so. In the middle, we saw the opposition also pick up speed. We saw the PDM happen. We saw, among other challenges, of course, there have been economic challenges also. There have been challenges in the form of, as far as expenditure for the government is concerned, as far as inflation, price hike is concerned, all of those things. Broadly speaking, before we go into each category, how do you see today after 3 years of this government?
Maruk, after 3 years, I think we can look back and I mean the best way of.
Jawad Sahab, let me interrupt. Gigi, please go on. Sorry.
The best way to measure or evaluate a performance is that we have to see from where we started and where we are today. I mean, this is a very simple way of explaining that what you have done, what you have achieved so far. So, first of all, I would talk about economy because this was the biggest challenge when PTI government took over in 2018. The foreign reserves were not enough for the import bill of the country. We were on the verge of bankruptcy. Our foreign reserves were around $9 billion and today we are $25 billion. Our current account deficit was $19+ billion and today it is $1 billion. Our foreign remittance used to be $21–22 billion and today this year we had $27+ billion foreign remittance. Our stock exchange 2018, we are higher than that. Our textiles exports is higher than 2018. Our construction industry has resulted into the production of cement, which is highest in volume in the history of 72 years of Pakistan. If we go on the foreign policy performance, I think in 2018, Pakistan was quite isolated by the narrative of India, and Kashmir was a forgotten subject at international forums. And Prime Minister Imran Khan himself and the leadership and the government, they took it up at various forums, and then it caught the attention of international media and international forums, which means United Nations, European Union, countries like Germany, America, Malaysia, Turkey. So many countries who condemned the human right violation in Kashmir, and the issue of Kashmir was in the radar once again, which was a forgotten case.
Okay, let's start. Let's go on and talk about each and everything. You've talked a little about economy. You've talked about foreign policy. We'll start off with that. Let me include Naseem Saab also. Naseem Saab, you are, as far as economy is concerned, of course, the indicators that Jawad Saab is talking about, they're there. But on the other hand, as far as our people are concerned, there is an issue of inflation, there is an issue of price hike, there has been for a while. Among other things that was very close to this government's heart, I would say the Prime Minister also, would be accountability. In terms of the tangibles there, we will want to talk about that also. What have we achieved as far as accountability is concerned? What have we achieved as far as economy, foreign policy, all of these things are concerned. Do you agree with Jawad Saab largely as far as economy is concerned?
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Maruk, thank you very much. Actually, when Imran Khan was in opposition, he was thinking that to be in the government is a bed of roses.
Right,
But it's
okay.
not like that. If you ask me for the 3 years performance of PTI government, it's like half glass is full and half is empty.
Okay.
The promises made by the government, as Imran Khan used to be saying that while in opposition, that he will tackle all these things in 90 days like corruption and things like that. But yet you have seen that they have been trying their hard, but nobody has been given sentences in corruption cases, although the 3 years have been gone. And after 2 years, they will be in the election mode again as well. There is too much unemployment. Inflation is on its high. So the poor people, they are suffering a lot. But as Jawad Saab said, that they have done something good in the field of economy. The remittances has increased. That shows that the overseas Pakistanis, they have got more confidence in this government. Construction business is going good, and the 40 other companies which are involved with the construction business, they are performing good as well. But there's a lot of unemployment where the government has to think, as they has promised to give like 10 million jobs to the people and 50 lakh houses to the poor people. So government is trying their hard because of the COVID, yes, all of the world, they suffered a lot. So as this government suffered a lot, but we can say that their performance is going in the right direction. If they keep going on with this pace and they get big fishes to be given sentences in corruption, then it would be a good message to the other people as well. And people need employment, inflation should be controlled.
Let me come back to you. Ji, Rana Saab. Rana Saab, in terms of challenges for the government, in terms of, posing a challenge for the government, the opposition, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be doing that great, considering the fact that, of course, we saw the manifestation, the amalgamation, whatever you may call it, of the PDM, which then sort of has fragmented. But other than that, how do you see the situation as far as economy is concerned? Do you agree with, broadly speaking, let's talk about the indicators. Do you agree with the indicators at this time that things are largely on the mend as on the economic front for this government before we talk about the fact that how it will translate to the grassroots level and the vision of the government of, bringing as far as inflation and, cost of everything is concerned, utilities is concerned, all of that later. But broadly speaking, as far as the indicators are concerned.
So broadly speaking, the most important indicators for the population of Pakistan, number one is inflation. We had the lowest inflation in the last, I think, 2 decades. It was less than 5% average over a 5-year period. And today you talk about food inflation, it's in double digits. You talk about rural food inflation, it's in double digits. And it is in the whole region, we have the highest inflation. Now you talk about unemployment, go take a survey in any university, the absorption of fresh graduates into the job market is less than 15 to 20%. You talk about poverty, the middle class has squeezed. People have fallen, huge portions of the population have fallen below the poverty line. So in these 3 indicators, PTI has completely been unable to deliver. Now let's talk about GDP, the gross domestic product, that is the size of your economy. We left it at 315 billion US dollars. Today we're at almost 300 billion US dollars. After 3 years, we haven't even crossed the 2018 mark. Let's talk about GDP per capita. It was above 1600 US dollars per person. Today it is around a little above 1400 US dollars per person. I would like to shed light on tax collection. A country cannot prosper if it's not collecting enough tax. After 3 years, PTI has been able to increase tax collection by 20%. That's an average 7% per annum increase, whereas we had a 20% increase each year on tax collection. Let's talk about the fiscal deficit. In 3 years, PMLN accumulated a fiscal deficit of 4,200 billion rupees. PTI in just 3 years have crossed 10,700 billion rupees. On fiscal deficit alone, they have been borrowing the most. They have borrowed almost 150% of what we borrowed in 5 years in just 3 years. I mean, we left the public debt at 24,900 billion. Today it has crossed 37,000 billion. Let me just, let's talk about press freedom index. It was at 139 when we left. It is at 145 today. That means the press freedom has been repressed. Let's talk about the corruption perception index. It was at 117 when we left. So the perception of corruption in this country has increased.
Okay, Rana Saab. Ji, Jawad Saab.
I can continue from where I left last time. So the third most important point, I think I would say, was the handling of COVID.
You wouldn't want to answer, Rana Saab?
I will.
Ji.
But let me complete, because economy I have covered,
Right.
and foreign policy I have covered. Now I want to cover the COVID, because today's program is
Ji.
meant to describe the 3-year performance of the PTI government.
Right, but he's
And
talking about
you
economy.
invited me for that, so
Ji.
allow me to give you the summary for you
I
and
will,
for
I
the audience, the 3-year performance of
Ji.
PTI government.
As you know, I always give you as much time
No,
as
no,
you'd like.
I didn't complain, but I'm
Ji.
just trying to summarize the
But I'm saying that
performance.
he's talking about tax collection also. He's talking about things related, of course, to the economy. He's
Yes,
saying that this is...
I will
Ji.
come to that also.
Okay, Ji.
So,
Fair
coming to the third most important challenge which PTI government faced was COVID challenge. And PTI government had been able to handle COVID situation better than all the regional countries in most part of the world.
Okay.
And again, this statement does not come from me. This statement comes from international forums.
Right.
And they confirmed that how this smart lockdown strategy which was adopted was initially by Pakistan. Rest of the world was going for the complete lockdown. And this smart lockdown strategy has allowed us to continue with our economic growth as well. And that is why the economic indicator which I presented in the first part of the program, we could achieve that. That is why the economic takeoff has been possible.
Okay.
And the fourth important thing is that there were some areas in Pakistan which were forgotten, which were ignored, which never got any priority in Pakistan. One of them was environment.
Okay.
Nobody ever talked about it. At least I didn't hear any prime minister or any president. Yes, there used to be some tree plantation once in a year, but nothing else. Whereas we were one of the worst countries in terms of forest density in Pakistan. And because of this environment, we were having the worst crisis by 2030. There's different predictions about the weather and everything. I think this is something, I would say that this is something which we should be grateful to Imran Khan.
Right, okay.
That he created this kind of realization, this 1 billion tree successfully done, then he started 10 billion tree program, and now we are seeing the fruits within 3 years, fruits of those tree plantation. The third thing in Pakistan after Ayub Khan's tenure, so it's like 50 years, there had been talk about dams. And but nobody could start any dam for 50 years.
Right. Okay. So the
And
progress
so the
you're
Prime
saying.
Minister Imran Khan, so this was also something which was ignored, could not be done. So he started 3 dams and overall 10 dams which will be complete by 2030. And dams has 2 dynamics. One is the water shortage which Pakistan will be facing in the future. So that will be helpful there. And second, the expensive energy, which basically is causing the inflation which we are talking today, and which is the main narrative of the opposition, that there is inflation. So behind that inflation, the topmost factor is the cost of the energy, and which is the resultant of the last 25 years whatever the IPP's agreements were made at the highest rates in the world. We are perhaps one of the top 3 countries in the world who are producing energy from petrol, from gas, which is most expensive.
Right, okay.
So,
Jawad Sahab, let me come back.
then we are having that impact on the inflation, because the energy is expensive, then there is going to be everything expensive.
Right, okay. Ji, Naseem Sahab, overall, the picture that Jawad Sahab is saying, the stuff that he's talking about, you know, of course, overall, do you agree with him?
Actually, when you talk about Prime Minister Imran Khan, yes, he is working very hard. There is no corruption charges on him, and he is trying his best. Like tree plantation is a very good initiative, because in the future, our children, they need a good environment. So whatever steps he is taking, like Mehmet Dam is a very good initiative, like Jamir Basha Dam, it's a very good initiative. But the people sitting around him, they are doing corruption as well. You can see the
Naseem
sugar
Sahab,
scandal.
overall, if we talk about things today, I don't think it will be wrong to say that there are issues of law and order, there are issues at this time related to harassment as far as women are concerned that have been raised time and again in this government. There are issues as far as inflation is concerned. There are issues as far as you know, tangible outputs of the accountability of this government. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. Actually, when you said about harassment, you have seen what happened in Lahore. So, Prime Minister Imran Khan usually talks about the young generation of Pakistan.
So, the law and order situation
Law and
overall,
order situation
yeah.
is not overall good. We have just seen another scenario in a rickshaw. There 2 girls were going and they were harassed as well. So, these things should be kept, and Punjab government, they should improve the law and order situation. You have seen some cases in Islamabad as well. So, that should be addressed, this thing. And inflation, yes, it's going down day by day. So the poor people, they should be given some relief. If they have not given the relief, then
But
they
let me
feel-
ask you this, do you think any other government, regardless of which other government it would have been, I mean, which other party it would have done, in your opinion, would not be facing the same problems at this time in the country?
You see that the government, they already have ruled for like 35 years. But this government is just for the last 3 years, and they have taken most of the things from the previous governments. So they are trying their best. I will give 60 marks out of 100 that they are trying their best, and let the 5 years should be completed. And then we will say that what PTI government has done about their manifesto, whatever they have.
Because of course, according to this government, what is being said is that there is, of course, this for them to bring the country, and I think the Prime Minister has said this time and again also, for them to bring the country back on track, of course, has taken a lot of effort, has taken needed too much energy, too much resources in this country at this time that we did not unfortunately have to start off with. That is the
Definitely,
argument that of course is made.
Definitely, you can see that there was a current account deficit when the government took over.
Which is what
Then-
Jawad Sahab explained in some detail.
They are doing their best. So, what PTI government is doing at the moment, they are on the right path, I think, which I think.
Okay.
And let's see when the 5 years will be completed and what the result comes, that they will fulfill their promises or not.
Right, okay. Ji, Rana Sahab.
When you see, whenever a new government comes, there are always challenges. And when we came into power, there were almost 2,300 bomb blasts across Pakistan. Can you hear me?
Ji, ji. Loud and clear.
You know, not a single foreigner was willing to come to Pakistan. There was 16 hours of load shedding, and we turned that around. So yes, there was a challenge of current account deficit, but it has been misrepresented throughout these 3 years. You know, the trade deficit was almost the same this year to where we left in 2018. The only thing which changed were the remittances. And everyone is saying that the reason the remittances have risen is because of Corona, because people are not traveling, people are not going abroad. So, you know, the formal, they have to send money through the formal challenge and channels, and not, they can't bring it by hand. And in this July, remittances did not increase. There was a 2% decline. So we hope, you know, that the only factor which has helped them with a good current account deficit apart from Corona, which suppressed the imports. They've done absolutely nothing. So I want to tell you on the government front and the governance, what have they done? Has railway improved? No, the losses have accumulated. Has PIA improved? No, PIA was banned due to their mismanagement in half of this world. They could not take their flights. Pakistan Steel Mill, they could not do anything for it. They said we would run it. They haven't done that. They haven't privatized it. So all aspects have worsened off. They said that we will renegotiate with the IPPs and it will change everything. The circular debt, it has risen from 1.1 trillion to 2.3 trillion. They could not bring in any reforms. They could not lower down the technical losses. They could not increase the recoveries. Did they? So you
But
pick
Rana
any
sir,
sector.
why,
You
why
talk
don't
about.
we talk about the role of the opposition then? Why don't we talk about the role? Your party is one of the main opposition parties at this time. Have you done your part? I mean, you talk about reform, you talk about the fact that change should have come. Have you helped that change at all? I mean, whenever we talk about the fact that there should be reform, does the opposition come up with any of their own initiatives? Do they come up with any of their own points? We haven't seen that. We haven't seen any kind of input come out of the opposition, instead of that game being played that look, they didn't ask us and they didn't participate, because that's what we're getting. That back and forth exchange happens every time there is talk of reform. There is, as far as even NAB law is concerned, there doesn't seem to be any movement from your side also, from the opposition side also.
Yes, Maruf, I wanted to discuss how they've run democracy in the last 3 years. They have been unable to run the National Assembly of Pakistan because their speakers could not be neutral. They have been unable to run the committees of these assemblies properly. We were willing, for example, we were willing to work with them on the Charter of Economy throughout in the beginning, but they did not listen to Shehbaz Sharif on that. We wanted to do election reforms, but those committees were left redundant. And now,
What
even
about
now,
now?
today,
What
we are
about
willing to
now?
work on the.
As far as electoral reform is concerned, what about now? You have seen the Prime Minister make an offer on the floor of the House. Is the opposition serious about it now? We haven't seen any kind of move from the opposition. We haven't seen any kind of response even, if you talk about that.
Not at all. No, no. Maruf, the opposition has been, clearly stating their stance that we want the ECP or the political forum where we can discuss electoral reforms, and from there on take that recommendation to the assembly. That has been our stance from day one. But the government feels that they don't need to listen to the opposition's request. So that is what is happening, and they keep on saying that we're not willing to work with them. So on this front as well, the government has failed. We are the most polarized in politics as we've ever been. I mean, you want to talk about accountability? Accountability has been misused like anything in these last
Rana
3
sir,
years.
why hasn't there been any move by the opposition, for example? I mean, such a big incident has happened as far as, this Lahore incident is concerned. Have we seen any kind of resolution? Have we seen any kind of condemnation from the opposition? A move to perhaps have a session that is, garnered towards dealing with this issue, talking about it. It's something that seems to have shaken people, but we haven't seen that.
Of course, I think all the leaders of PMLN have condemned it on the social medias, everywhere on the media. Our party has been condemning this behavior, and we feel that the government needs to, step up to this challenge. Everyone, the whole society needs to step up to this challenge. And in the coming sessions, you will be hearing a lot about this. Of course, this is something which needs to be, taken up regularly, and this needs to be dealt with a very strong hand.
Okay. So after the, after this, perhaps you will be talking about it. But what about accountability? Jawad Sahab, let's talk about accountability. As far as accountability is concerned, of course, you have started off, the government started off with, that being one of the main It was the manifesto in your elections also. It is something very close. The Prime Minister talks about it. He says there is no compromise on accountability. Do you think you've achieved anything as far as accountability is concerned?
First of all, the question would be what exactly is the definition of the achievement for the government. The government is responsible for the governance, and I think as far as governance is concerned, the corruption cases have been given to NAB, they have been given to FIA, there have been commissions, there have been investigations, there have been results out of that. But at the end of the day, it is the judicial system of Pakistan, the courts of Pakistan who will decide about the outcome. And we go there as a prosecutor, government, and plead those cases, and this is what we are doing. I just give you an example that sugar scandal. There have been a sugar crisis in Pakistan since decades.
Okay.
It was not just one PTI year or so. It has always been there. Always, every year it was there. There was a little bit of criticism and then it would just went under the carpet every year. But this time the government accepted, okay, we'll take it up. They formed a commission, there was inquiry, irrespective somebody belonged to the government, somebody belonged to the opposition, everybody was assumed to be responsible for this sugar mafia, their names were there. And now at the end of the day, there have been 50 billion fine on the sugar industry who created this crisis, and this is accountability. I give you another example, Ring Road. Ring Road scandal was not brought up by opposition. It was not brought up by media. It was brought up by Prime Minister Imran Khan. When he came to know something was not right, and he brought it up instead of again burying it under the carpet, just like the motorway. You must be knowing that 381 kilometer, which is currently, it is actually, it was 100 kilometer less than that. And it was increased because those ministers in the Nawaz Sharif government, they wanted that the road should go through their village or through their cities, and they could encash their lands. So because of that corruption, now I think for years and for decades we will be paying the price of traveling towards Lahore about 100 kilometers more, but nobody talked about it, and it went under carpet. But when it came to the knowledge of Imran Khan, so this is the difference, you know, this is the difference, that Prime Minister Imran Khan is ready to accept anything, even if it means there is investigation against its own government, against its own ministers. Maximum number of ministers, they either had to resign or they were asked to resign during this government, and under the, whenever there was an allegation there, whenever there was a question mark, the minister was asked to leave the office or to resign.
Naseem Saab, do you agree? You think that as far as accountability, okay, let's talk about accountability within government, which is what Jawad Saab is talking about. He's saying that as far as accountability within government is concerned, they've taken, as far as the sugar scandal is concerned, the government took ownership of it. They investigated it. There is now a fine. Do you agree with that?
Actually, you can see that Jahangir Tareen was very close to Imran Khan. But when the sugar scandal came in, he parted his ways with Tareen. And you can see that Ring Road scandal has come in the government as well, and the initiative was taken by the government. So I think they are going in the right direction, but the departments like FIA and NAB, they are not working properly, because if government wants to keep the people who are involved in the corruption, the prosecution is very slow and they are not performing as they should perform.
You're saying that there is, as far as you're concerned, you're saying that there are sincere efforts by the government.
Yeah.
There is a move by this government to hold people accountable, but the system does not allow for it. There are flaws within the system.
You can see our judiciary system is on number 120.
Which is what Jawad Saab also talked about. He's saying that there is judicial, of course.
There should be judicial
again,
reforms.
It's that circular argument that we go to, that there is, of course, the fact that there is a system, we have systemic failures in the sense that there is, judicial reform is needed, police reform is needed across the board, as far as even we've talked about electoral reform is needed. All of those things, for all of those things to happen, the government cannot do it alone.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk, that it's not only the government's job, that's the job of the opposition as well. If they want to end corruption in Pakistan, they should sit down on judicial reforms. They should sit down on electoral reforms, because from 1948 we are hearing that every election has been rigged. Whoever lost the election, they say the election has been rigged, but they are not sitting for the reforms of the electoral or the judicial reforms. So it's the duty of government as well as for the opposition as well, that they should sit down together to resolve all of these matters. So regarding corruption, we have seen that most of the cases were lodged against opposition leaders, but all of them, they are out of jail at the now, and they are claiming that it was all the due to the Prime Minister and NAB they have done against them, and there was nothing, that they have done no corruption. So this system should be changed.
Right, okay. T. Rana Sahab, we talk about the fact that of course the system should be changed. We talk about the fact that there are failures as far as the system is concerned. But again, the same thing, as the opposition, whether it was the PDM, whether it is now the PMLN, have you participated in any move towards legal reform, towards judicial reform, towards police reform? Because of course the government at this time doesn't enjoy 2/3 majority. Do you think that there is any chance that there can be that kind of relationship, that kind of working relationship between the government and the opposition for that to happen?
Of course, there can be, and there was for the last 10 years from 2008 to 2018. And that was only because that there was a speaker who would run the assembly in a neutral manner. So you know, the opposition could talk, they could, you know, give their ideas, and we could move forward. But what has been happening with PTI is that their target is to put the leaders of PMLN behind jail, and that is what they've been doing. They made a fake case against Rana Sonal for 15 kg heroin. They have not yet, the court case has not yet begun, because there is no case. But he went and he was in jail for the longest period. Hamza Shahbaz was in jail for almost 2 years. Nothing could be proved. And the list goes on. The LNG scandal, they put Khakan Abbasi and Miftah, but nothing came out of it. Ehsan Iqbal, they put in in a case that for which Asad Umar has said that there is no case against Ehsan Iqbal, but still he went into jail for I think 2 months. So this has been happening on the accountability side, and when it comes to the government side, they have taken a complete blind eye. They say we have done accountability in the sugar area. None of the government people who were in government, the ECC committee or the CM, none of them were charged with anything, who were responsible for exporting when we had no stocks, and who were giving subsidies. And you know, they were not even, nothing happened. And the sugar prices never fell down. They kept on rising, and they are rising even today. Talk about the wheat scandal, the medical scandal. No one was caught. No one was charged from the government side. So there was no, the BRT project in Peshawar, it was a whitewash. NAB never wanted to take it seriously.
So you're not willing to help them then?
No, about that, we are willing to work, but the issue is that they have made such an atmosphere where their target is to just,
have you not been part of the system as a political party? Have you not been part of the system for you know, at least 3, you know, if not successive, 3 governments? Why don't you participate now in trying to reform the system, now that the government is saying that they want to reform, they want to move towards judicial reform, they want to move towards legal reform? Those failures in the system are for everyone.
So they should take up our offer for the electoral reforms. Let's start from there. We're willing to work. They should come. You can't bulldoze what you want. You have to listen to what the opposition is saying.
Okay, fair enough.
But if you try
why
to
don't you take
bulldoze
them up
your
on the
own
electoral
choice.
reform? Let's just talk about that.
I think a lot of
What are the objections?
a lot of efforts were made to invite opposition for the discussion. Right now, the discussion is in Senate by a Parliamentary committee, and it is equally participated by the opposition and the government, and it's under discussion there. And once it is passed from Senate, then it will go to election commission, and election commission will be bound to invite all parties again for to determine the execution of those election reforms. So it is all under discussion. There have been numerous efforts by the speaker, by a minister assigned by the Prime Minister to persuade opposition to discuss election reforms. But I think they started with just rejecting. They did not reject it after discussing and deliberating. They rejected it right on the onset, and they said that they just reject it and they don't want to discuss it. So in such kind of environment, what exactly government can do if the opposition is simply not ready to deliberate?
But the
I mean, after the deliberation, I mean, the deliberation means they have to raise question if a technology is being introduced. If we are talking about the right granted to the overseas Pakistanis by Supreme Court, and as a result of that, in 2018 elections, only few thousand people who could cast their vote, because Naseem Siddiqui Sahab is also in overseas, so he knows this thing. So how difficult it is to cast your vote from different cities to the going to the embassy. So we wanted to bring in an internet voting in the election reforms to actually execute the right granted to the overseas Pakistani by Supreme Court, and also which is their right. I mean, they're not ready to talk about it. I don't understand what is the objection on the overseas Pakistanis' right of vote, and perhaps it is because of their fear that a majority of the overseas Pakistanis, they are in favor of PTI, so they don't want to talk about it. But if you allow me, if,
Rana Sahab, is it because of that, or is it because of your general skepticism as far as the electronic voting is concerned, the RTS system, all of that connected with that, or is it just generally that you feel that the overseas Pakistanis will support PTI?
You see, the Election Act of 2017, which was passed with, after a lot of consensus building, and everyone participated, even PTI. They had these two articles, one on overseas voting and one on the EVM, electronic system. And Election Commission did some pilot projects on it, and then it had given its recommendations on how to move forward. But PTI, without going through those recommendations, has their own agenda of how to implement it. If you want to make a change in the Election Act, you need two-third majority. You need to involve the opposition, and if we're saying something, okay, don't take it 100%, but at least agree on 30-40%. That's how you negotiate with the opposite party, or you try to bring them on the table, but that is not what is happening. There was the Election Act 2017 included both these areas. It had a way forward, and we want the ECP's recommendation along with its previous reports to move forward. We're not opposed to anything, but it has to be done through consensus building. It has to be done through confidence building of all political parties which are involved. Specifically for such legislation, you cannot bulldoze. If you try to bulldoze, it will be considered as
do you see what's happening here? Even between here, Naseem Sahab, we're seeing, this whole debate about the fact that according to the PMLN, the government tried to bulldoze it without taking them on board. As far as the government is concerned, they're saying that they didn't really care. They rejected it outright without looking at what the government was proposing. So this back and forth thing, you think, how much loss do you think, in your opinion, as who is ultimately in loss as far as this whole this fight or this acrimony or this?
The people of Pakistan, whole of the nation, they are in loss at the moment, because it's the duty of the government that they should go to the opposition, and whatever are the circumstances with opposition, they should sit down. And the role of opposition should be not asking for NRO all the time. And when you see in the National Assembly, when they come, they just ask that they have been not taken to the National Assembly from the jails, and they are all talking about NAB and things like that, and cases against them. But they are not serious for the things to resolve the matters for the people of Pakistan. You have seen that PDM, they came against the government. But what happened with the PDM? Where is opposition? So when they cannot sit down together for the things like that, so how can they give performance, or they can give some benefit to the people of Pakistan? Because the people have given vote to the opposition and to the government as well to resolve their problems.
I'd like to
and
make one
I have
comment.
seen that opposition is just after their benefits.
And as far as opposition and government is concerned, when you talk about reform, when you talk about police reform or legal reform or accountability, we don't only just mean accountability of as far as the opposition is concerned or the people within government, which is what Jawad Sahab also talked about. There has to be accountability for criminals. There has to be accountability for people who are harassers, which is so many other issues.
But there's the weakness in the judiciary system.
Which
They
comes back to that whole argument of how we need to go back and do
exactly.
reform.
The job of the National Assembly is to bring reforms to make law and order situation better, because they people are caught by police, and the judiciary system is so complicated that they get relief from there. Everyone is getting relief. As my colleague Rana Sahab was saying that Ahsan Iqbal and Hamza Shaba, they are not acquitted. Their cases are still in the court, but they are not getting any decisions from there. And until and unless the courts give them acquittance, you cannot say that they have done nothing.
They are still accused.
They are still accused.
But as far as Hamza Shahbaz or the other important names in PMLN who are facing Ahsan Iqbal, all of those people, those are not the only people, unfortunately, when you talk about accountability, which is what I'm talking about. When you talk about, there are hundreds of criminals in jails or not in jails or out on bail, which concerns the citizens of this country, for which not only the opposition, but the government and the opposition both need to sit together and work towards reform.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is not happening, and it's the third year.
Yeah.
So when you talk about achievements, that is another achievement that perhaps the government and the opposition both need to work on, because they both have to contest elections.
And primarily
they both have
that
to
is the duty of the
primarily go
government.
to the people for votes.
That is primarily the duty of the government to sit with the opposition and resolve these matters. And on the other hand, opposition has got the same responsibility to sit with the governments and resolve these issues.
Legislation is a combined responsibility. I mean, this is what we can summarize.
Exactly.
It's a combined responsibility.
Rana Sahab, the
The
combined
government not
responsibility
without majority cannot legislate anything in the
and the government doesn't have
two-third majority.
Two-third majority for them to do it single-handedly. So there has to be that kind of relationship, which is not happening. Rana Sahab?
Is willing to work. The opposition is willing to work. It has been willing to work, but sadly, we cannot even run a National Assembly session normally. And why is that?
Yes,
We need to,
and that is
come to a
not
conclusion why
only
it's
because
happening.
you can't blame the government single-handedly. I mean, you can't say that the government can't, it's the government's fault that you can't run. The kind of, the exhibitionism, the kind of, the activities we've seen in the National Assembly at this time when so many issues confront the nation is really, really unfortunate.
Maruf, we have shown it happening in Pakistan from 2008 to 2018, and we were labeled as a, the opposition was labeled as a friendly opposition, or the government was, so it has worked, but even that was politicized. They are not doing it on purpose because they don't want.
Well, they haven't said that about the opposition yet, but maybe, if I give them... Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for being with us. Ahmed Jawad Sahab, thank you for joining us today. Naseem Siddiqui Sahab, thank you for being with us. Rana Ahsan Sahab, thank you for being with us. As far as, lastly, I'd like to say that as far as this country is concerned, there are a plethora of issues that confront this nation at this time. Among them is, of course, for the common man, judicial reform is a huge issue. Legal reform, like I said, as far as police reform is concerned, it's a huge issue in terms of accountability, in terms of bringing, perpetrators against, to justice. That's also a huge issue. We've seen harassment become a huge issue, the law and order situation become questionable over these issues. All of those things, of course, are then lead to failures within the system that need to be addressed by reform. And that reform cannot happen unless there is a joint effort by the government and the opposition. Well, let's hope that after 3 years and the government and the opposition can manage to sit together and work towards that with some seriousness instead of passing the buck between each other. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.